Okay, thank you for waiting. Oops. Nelly?
Yes.
I'm missing a whole page of the agenda. 5:00 to 11:00. Thank you. Call to order and reconvene the open session of the Mountain View Los Altos Union High School District Board of Trustees for Monday, February 13th. Ladies and gentlemen, I invite you please to rise and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic with liberty and justice for all. So let the record show that all 5 elected board members are present and both student board members are present. Welcome, Ava. Welcome, Sadie. Good to see you both. May I have a motion to approve the agenda or to change it?
I move to approve the agenda.
Okay, moved by Catherine, seconded by Sanjay. Any discussion? Okay. Student board rep, Sadie? Ava? Thank you. Board members, vote, please signal, raise your hand, aye.
Aye.
All 5 members vote aye. Very good, moving on. We met in closed session, but we took no action in closed session, so there is no report. Recognitions and resolutions, this is a good one tonight, excellent. MVLA Spotlight.
Yes, thank you, President Felice. The Mountain View Los Altos High School District every month recognizes an individual or organization who has gone above and beyond and who contributes to the success of our students. So we are very excited tonight to recognize our Mountain View Los Altos High School Foundation. And I'm going to say a little bit about it before we welcome them up. First of all, this year they are celebrating their 40th anniversary. So if you think back 40 years to where you were, they were starting up their organization around how to fill in the gaps that students need to really fulfill their dreams. And each year and each decade, they added more to this mission and purpose. And today, we celebrate and recognize this 40th anniversary. A little bit about them. They invest in innovations and a learning environment that makes sure that not only our students, but our staff are allowed to continue to grow. Some of the things that they do for us, they support us with technology. And so technology is always expiring and we're always finding the need for extra and technological supports. They also are responsible for providing college and career counselors. One of the things that we notice particularly in this community is that some students can afford to have a private college tutor and some cannot. And so the mission of the foundation has been to, as I said, fill the gaps. So they do provide for that. They also provide support for our AVID program, Advancement via Interdetermination. And through this, we are able to provide internships and opportunities for students to work within the community, to meet community leaders, and to see what they do day to day. Some of the other things this year, they're piloting, as you know, a new career technical education position. And so this provides for our hands-on engineering, culinary arts, and really a variety of courses, including architecture, et cetera. And so we're excited to see what possibilities that brings. And in only a few months, it's already proven very successful. There's so much to say, but class size reduction is targeted via their strategic plan for our students who have needed success in Algebra 2, which is a gateway course, as well as in our English course to encourage more and more writing. And then our tutorial center, science and STEM report, they also provide therapists for each of our comprehensive campuses so we can make sure that we recognize the importance of wellness. And then the speaker series, et cetera, to name just some of the things that they do. Summer college counseling programs, as well as support that really some people pay tutors to provide for PSAT and SAT. We provide in our tutorial center. And then they also help us support the assessment. So through this lens of equity and through these 40 years, we are very grateful for our MVLA Foundation. And tonight, we have 3 representatives who will be here for the Spotlight Award. So I would like to welcome Andrea Mays, the current president, Christine Bardman and Margaret Gong, who are the co-executive directors. And I see also a spectator here from our board. We're very grateful for the work that you do and honored to give you the MVLA Spotlight Award.
Thank you. Thank you, board members. Thank you, Dr. Meyer, for the recognition. We really appreciate it. On behalf of the board, I'd like to just say that we also are thankful for the 40 years of partnership with the district. You know, we can't do what we do without your support. So we work hard to raise as much money as we can. I'm very proud that cool photo of over $25 million over the last 40 years. And so we hope there's another 40 years in the future where we can continue to build our partnership and create a learning environment where all students can thrive. And I just want to thank those with me, our 2 executive directors, Christine Bardman and Margaret Gong. They are the force behind everything we do, as well as Archana Apadye, who's our vice president this year. And she and I represent the volunteer board that works hard also to, you know, set the vision and help raise money and talk to the community and share what we do. So
if I could say something also, if you don't mind. So, and this is for, I know a lot of the audience here who doesn't know about the foundation. This is the gift that keeps on giving. I got to know this board 2015, I think, when I was on the board. And just so the people who out there knows and everybody's listening, what they provide our students. They are incredibly critical and foundational arm for our district. We have small 9th grade English classes because of them. You know, we have more, we can hire college and career counselors because of the foundation. We have speaker.
Reverb.
Many other programs, but you know, I just want to urge anyone who wants to be a part of your students' learning here at the district to become a member of the foundation. It is a great honor to be on the foundation. It is a gift, and you will have a direct contribution to all the students in the district. So I want to thank you very much for everything that you do for our students. It is an amazing amount of effort that gets put in, you know, in terms of raising the amount of money that you've done every year, and every year you raise the bar and you meet the bar, which is amazing to me every year when I see that. So thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Oh, well said, Sanjay. I would just add that a very long time ago, over 20 years ago, my wife was the president of the foundation in your role. And in those 4 years, I think she held the position. She considered it a great accomplishment that they got up to like $200,000. And that's what I have observed over the years, that what Sanjay has said has continued almost unbroken from that time to now. And that's a tremendous growth rate that you have achieved. And you, or in particular, and especially Margaret and Christine, have been key in that accomplishment. And so just add that thank you. Keep up the great work. We wouldn't be where we are today without you. Great. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Well, don't we have a photo op?
I believe we did take. All of those.
Yeah, Margaret.
I'll do one more.
Folks,
Okay, one more. Okay. You agree with all of us? Okay.
do we need everyone?
Yes.
Yeah.
You want to?
No, you need us? You need us too? Okay. Why don't you have them come here?
Yeah. we can-
These are yours.
You get the center.
Okay, full sweep in here.
Sammy and I are heading.
Okay. 1, 2, 3, and one more for good measure. Okay.
All
All
right.
right, thank you.
Bravo.
Okay, great. That was really well done. So we are now up to board member reports. Board members, do you have any reports? Okay, seeing none, we'll move on. Student board members, I know you have reports. Let's start with you, Ava.
So last week was a very busy week at Mountain View. We were celebrating our winter ball dance and leading up to our dance, which was masquerade meeting. And we hosted a spirit week. And we had some really fun ones this year. The days were Rhyme Without Reason, The Crown, Wild and Out, Throw It Back Thursday, and Funky Friday. Everyone just goes there on interpretation, and it was great to see everyone dressed up. We had our winter ball dance on Saturday at Blanco Urban Menu in downtown San Jose. We had about 350 tickets sold, and it was truly a great dance. And I would just want to thank Mountain View teachers and administrators for keeping us safe and joining us on that night. We also just opened our Spartan spot at Mountain View, which is a place where you can take a break and a breath in a relaxing environment. And we're very grateful to have this
If you need that.
resource on campus. Last week, we also had our shadow day for incoming 9th grade students. And the week before that, we hosted our 8th grade parent night, which was a collaboration with AFD and ambassadors. And it was super exciting to see our incoming families on campus. Last Friday, we also hosted our Spartan Pause for February. We had breathing exercises, hot chocolate, and visiting animals like goats. And that had a great turnout as well. And lastly, we're looking forward to winter break next week and our singing Valentine's from our choir performance group tomorrow for Valentine's Day.
So did I understand you to say that you had a dance that was masquerade themed?
Yeah, it was masquerade.
So I mean, if you're wearing masks for 2 years?
Yeah. It looked like eye mask.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Okay, good.
yes.
May I ask how often you have a dance like this off campus?
Yeah, only winter ball and prom are off campus.
Sadie,
Oh, all right. As far as athletics go, winter sports have come to a close. Our girls basketball team and both of our soccer teams made it to CCS playoffs, and they'll be playing their first playoff games this week. We wish them luck. Spring sports have officially started, and we are proud to offer 11 athletic programs this spring. This week is the Spirit Week at LAHS. We started the week with a rally and the lip sync battle. Classes met to practice during last week's lunches to create a dance for the rally, and I'm happy to report that the class of 2024 won. That's my class, by the way. This year, we also had a team of teachers and staff competing, which was super, super fun for both the students and the staff of the school. And after 2 years of online and hybrid and outside socially distanced rallies, we are excited to get back to normal. This is consistently one of the most anticipated events of the year, and we are excited that everything ran smoothly. Tomorrow, we continue the fun with the Valentine's Day Fair. 30 clubs will be participating by selling treats, cards, and art. And throughout the week, we will also host activities, give away hot chocolate, and host the highly anticipated Pie Your Teacher. Our student community leaders class is running Relay for Life this year. Relay for Life is a fundraiser to bring in donations for the American Cancer Society. And with that, they will be having an actual event sometime in March and be leading donations up into that date. Over the past few weeks, we've also been focusing on our 8th graders who will be attending Los Altos this coming fall. Incoming 8th grade families came to 8th grade parent night, where they heard from teachers and coaches about school life. And ASB students have gone to Bullish Charter, Egan, Crittenton, Block, and more to talk about students about what high school is like. In addition to this, we had a shadow day for 8th graders from private and non-feeder schools. They're registering for classes right now, just as current students are, and we'll have more of a robust orientation this summer. But it's a really good way to, keep their nerves down, get them excited for high school and not nervous for it. And finally, school elections are coming up. Each grade has 5 elected positions, and ASB class has 5 as well. However, elected positions aren't the only way to be involved with leadership, and we encourage everyone to attend class council meetings and apply for leadership classes. Thank you.
Thank you, Sadie. Any questions for Sadie? Thank you. Okay, I guess we're next to the student of the month.
So I would like to ask Julie Vo to come to the podium, please, and she will introduce our adult education student of the month or student of the year.
Thank you. It is my honor to introduce Isabel Ortiz, our MBLA Adult School Student of the Month. As a very young immigrant to the United States, Isabel Ortiz did not get the opportunity to attend grade school, but she was hardworking, motivated, and eager to learn by all means possible. Her first job was at a mail order fabric factory, but Isabel realized she needed to improve her English skills to advance her chances with the company. So she enrolled in MBLA Adult School to study ESL and found a supportive team ready to help her, not only with English, but also with her career needs. After exiting the ESL program, Isabel enrolled in the Office Applications class at MBLA and completed it with success. This allowed her to gain a promotion at her place of employment as a data entry specialist. All along, Isabel has been ready to advance her education. She studied hard and was successful in earning her GED certificate with an eye towards advancing her prospects in the healthcare field. Obtaining the GED qualified Isabel to enroll back into MBLA Adult School's medical assistant program and the eye care technician program in the fall of 2022. Isabel is the first student ever to successfully complete both classes simultaneously. This is a testament to her amazing drive and work ethic. As she currently completes her MA externship hours, actually you recently just completed last week, Isabel continues to advance her skills by concurrently attending a phlebotomy class that will give her an edge for employment. She appreciates the support of the Adult School's transition advisor in helping her with her resume and getting her ready for her next job. She says that she always comes back to MBLA Adult School because of the excellent teachers and advisors who truly care about her education. Isabel has shown admirable perseverance and high levels of excellence in her educational journey, all while working and juggling the demands of raising her 4 children. With her busy schedule, she even manages attending to her hobby of gardening in her rare free time, and we wonder what her next adventure may be.
Thank you everyone for all the support that I have been receiving from the school. And all of this wouldn't be possible all the support from everyone else, and all my teachers and my friend Johnny. Thank you.
So Isabel, when I read this, I was going along, just being amazed at how you went from one thing to another, just steadily going up the ladder and always pushing to drive yourself harder and learn more. And then I reached the following line. Isabel has shown admirable perseverance at high levels of excellence in her educational journey, all while working and juggling the demands of raising 4 children. Oh my God, how's that possible? That is incredible. Just, you are an amazing person. If every student were like you, we could probably fire half the staff. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
yes.
Isabel?
I have a question. I actually had my blood drawn today, just for a medical appointment, and I know how much skill it takes to do that. So I'm amazed that in addition to everything you're already doing, what, I guess to use a pun, what draws you to phlebotomy?
It's something that I really would like to do and to help people to kind of make myself to learn all the things that I would be things that I could use to help people.
I have a comment too. I want to say that you have made use of every single program that the adult school offers. You did the ESL part, then you did the GED part, then you did the office part. Now you're doing the medical part. Is there anything left? You do some of everything.
Oh, and I care.
I care. Wow. You've done every single thing that we offer. So you have made the best use of that particular school.
Yes, always I like to learn. So everything that it's about learning, I really want to join. Sometimes I don't have time, but it's on my mind. It's on the back of my head.
I just want to say in talking to you, I can just see the passion you have for learning, which is such an example to all of us. So thank you.
Just want to also say congratulations for really modeling, I think, for your children, what it means to have a love for learning and hard work and balancing probably many priorities, and really taking advantage of all the various programs. So congratulations.
Thank you.
Go ahead. So Isabel, do you have any family with you here tonight?
I have my good friend Johnny.
Well,
He has
maybe
been my
she would come up
support.
and join you in a photograph with us.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Oh, yeah.
That's a wide angle. Thank you.
Thank you. Congratulations.
And we are up to the superintendent's report. Kelly.
All right, thank you. You up? as always, a hard act to follow. I think I need to get my spot changed here. Wanted to share, here we are at the, in the community engagement on the weekend, and this superintendent report will really show some of the highlights and positive things that are going on in pictures. And as we go forward, continuing to focus on the importance of academic excellence, equity, and engagement. There's nothing quite like seeing the pictures of what our students are doing during the day. And in addition to learning and participating within the classroom, you can see here that pancakes were a hit, as well as celebrating some of the traditions associated and connected to Lunar New Year at Los Altos. And then you can also see some of the art. And Los Altos has such a strong art program. They have various exhibitions. And then also on the right, it's spring athletic season. And so you're going to see some of the lacrosse, the soccer, the baseball, and many other sports around campus. One thing, if you are not familiar with the slam poetry that occurs at Los Altos, I'd really invite you, and they're going to have future opportunities to watch as well, because it's an ongoing activity. Jonathan Kwan, an avid and English teacher at Los Altos High School, every year asks students to put together their poetry, and then they get up and do these poetry slam and participate and share. It's really a difficult thing to do, and they do it so well. And so it's just something to behold. So please look for that. And this is the one of the first events they've had this year. And special thanks to Mr. Kwan. Also wanted to share, as was mentioned by our student representatives, a lot of activity has gone into preparing and paving a welcoming pathway for our 8th graders. And so here you can see some family participation, 8th grade information night. We have small groups that get together so you can ask questions, and so parents can, get a feel for the campus and talk to staff members one-on-one. And then also we have the theater, where both campuses invite 8th grade parents and students to visit and answer general questions that we usually get every year, although there's always a new one. And then in addition to this, we make a point of visiting the partner districts and going to their activities and into their classrooms. Our counselors go into the classrooms, and our principals certainly visit the campus as well. Wanted to also share, we had our wellness center Spartan Spot opening last week at Mountain View High School, and the campus has set up a room in the 500 building with a beautiful view of the field, and within it they have many activities where students can go to relax, paint, draw, read, be alone, yoga and different wellness questions, and a place to be with a wonderful supervisor who is there with them. And so I really encourage you, if you were not able to attend, to visit. It's a peaceful place, and we're very grateful for it. And today, I don't have it on the slideshow, but I received some information from Ms. Satterwhite that she has, and I believe it is the Eagle Escape. The Eagle Escape is now open. And so Spartan Spot and Eagle Escape, schools are very creative. And so it has very similar place to go, and really kind of a place where it's quiet, where you can read, and you have an welcoming adult. So we're very excited about those 2 new additions. Wanted to also say it's Culture Week last week, and Spirit Week last week on one campus, and this week. And so here you can see Advisory Week at Mountain View High School, and so many opportunities to have fun. It's a great stress relaxer, and really accelerates learning when you feel that kind of in the zone, that ability to relax and be yourself. So you can see here examples of that. And the teachers there, I think, having a French day on the upper right. Although if you've been to France, I don't think they look like that, but we'll go with it. Also wanted to share so many celebrations going on. Our students really are exemplary throughout the state. And we do see the championship for our cheer team with the Spartans, and then also our wrestlers with the Spartans, which we're very appreciative on all of our campuses. Our administrators are here during the weekends, making sure that they're not only supervising, but celebrating the students. And Alta Vista also they certainly extend the workday and welcome parents. They had their high school open house. And here's some pictures. We're really getting to see some new insights into Alta Vista this year. It's been fun. You can see the participation in the pictures on the left, and you can see the engagement with students showing off their work on the campus during the back to school open house night. And in addition to that, Alta Vista has been hosting tours for counselors and for students who are interested in what they provide. So we'll get to hear more from them tonight. And then this year, as you can see, 10 of the 33 seniors have committed to after-school workshops where they're going to apply for scholarships. Seniors have completed their personal statements, and a lot of the counseling activities that you see at the comprehensive high schools are definitely happening at Alta Vista. And last year, 4 seniors were awarded $22,000 in scholarships, and it definitely makes a big difference in their lives. It provides them opportunities to buy books, to attend college, and also to help support their families so they're not pulled away for work. So these scholarships are really important to the work that we do. And then I think this is the last. We have Dr. Kelly Harding, and she will be here as part of our speaker series. You heard earlier the thanks we gave to our foundation. This is one of the many things that they do, and their topics are extremely appropriate and relevant to our community. This one will be on the groundbreaking science of kindness, and it will be at the Eagle Theater. So thank you, Eagles, for hosting this, and we look forward to hearing from Dr. Harding. And that concludes my superintendent report. Thank you.
Thank you, Nellie. Any questions for Nellie? Okay, then we'll move on. This is the point at the meeting at which we give an opportunity for representatives of our district professional organizations a chance to speak. Is there anyone here tonight to speak on those topics? No. Okay, so we'll move on. We are now at the opportunity for public comments on items not on the agenda. And I see that we have a request to speak from several people. So I will call them in the order in which they've been presented to me. What was that?
Want me to hand you one at a time?
Yeah. So the first one is David Roseman. You have 3 minutes, and please keep in mind, because this is not on the agenda, we may not engage in a discussion of this item, but you may speak. Yeah, you need that.
Okay, esteemed board members, thanks for letting me speak about the agenda item. My name is David Roseman. I have a child attending Mountain View Junior High School. I speak to you tonight about the district's ethnic studies program and what I am told is its current vendor. Roseman is my name. It's a Jewish name. I am no Zionist, but that does not matter. I am regularly a target of abuse and accusations in public and in the workplace, partly based on the plight of the Palestinian people. It has been explained to me carefully that I am the oppressor, you see, whether or not I take any particular view. The Acosta organization claims, or they will claim, that they make a distinction between anti-Zionism and anti-Semitism. They will show nuance in their beliefs. To our children and on the street and in the workplace here in Silicon Valley, this is a distinction without a difference. To the outside world, a Jew is a Zionist and a Zionist is a Jew. The Acosta educational partners are not here to spread love, I'm afraid. They're here to take names. Some names will be included. Some children will be welcomed into their fold. Some children will be turned to their cause. Some children will be canceled. You've heard of cancel culture. It's not pleasant. By canceled, I mean they will be the targets of malicious gossip for not accepting the roles as the oppressor. By canceled, I also mean that in a Mountain View Los Altos education will no longer open doors for them. Those doors will be closed. We cannot stop bigotry, but we don't have to pay for it either. I would request the board as an action item that the board pass a resolution prohibiting any anti-Semitic or anti-Zionist content in the ethnic studies program. Thank you very much for your kind attention.
Thank you. Next speaker. Leah Renson.
Good evening. My name is Leah Renson. I'm a parent at Los Altos High School. First, I want to thank you all for your response to the letter to our community regarding AEP's ethnic studies training. It was clear that it was an issue of concern for you all, as it is for us, and I sincerely appreciate your attention to this matter. With over 400 signatures that came in less than 3 days, it is clearly an issue that the community feels very strongly about. However, I don't think your work is done, and I think there are a few things that I'd like to bring to your attention. First, the Deborah Project has recently filed a lawsuit in federal court in Los Angeles against proponents of Liberated Ethnic Studies Model Curriculum Consortium on behalf of Jewish families in LA County. In this suit, the Deborah Project identifies how the Liberated Ethnic Studies material contains a component which its leadership has publicly stated is inseparable from its mission and will not be removed, that expressly and unequivocally casts Jews and the Jewish state as practitioners of genocide, ethnic cleansing, and apartheid. Additionally, these self-proclaimed ethnic studies experts insist that Jews do not have an ancient tie to the land known as Israel, but rather that Arab Palestinians are the indigenous people of the area and that Jews are latecomers intent on stealing it from the Palestinians. It is my understanding that the Deborah Project has contacted every district in California, alerting them to the suit, the dangers of employing anyone associated with the Liberated Consortium, and the potential for similar lawsuits if they do. I'm really sure this is something none of us want to see here. Second, because it is clear that the liberated curriculum and philosophy is attempting to be brought in under the radar, which I guess is their entire point, the MVLA board must take steps to ensure they don't succeed. You can do that in a few ways. First, please pass a board resolution prohibiting any material in ethnic studies or any other MVLA course from containing any anti-Semitic or anti-Zionist content or bias. Also, please bring in training by organizations that support constructive ethnic studies so that teachers are better prepared to incorporate positive, unbiased, and unpolitically motivated lessons that encourage multiple perspectives and promote the interests and well-being of all students. Lastly, I would like to remind the board and the superintendent that AB 101 requires an open, two-step community review of the ethnic studies curriculum before it becomes a requirement. This is not a review of the principles or the foundations of an ethnic studies class. It is a two-step review of the curriculum. The reasoning for this is to avoid exactly what we're dealing with today. It is important to go through the step process before you require this as a class for ninth graders. Yes, I know that means substantial change for your plans for the fall, but we clearly see that good intentions do not stop bad actors. We must protect them from hate and bias. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Leah. Our next speaker is Vadim Katz.
Good evening. My name is Vadim Katz. I'm a parent of two children, currently in 7th grade at Block and at 6th grade at Springer. My kids will be entering Mountain View High School in 2 and 3 years respectively. Thank you for allowing me this time to address MVLA administrators, educators, members of the community, and students, as I learned. I care deeply about the curriculum, and I found it disturbing to learn that the MVLA board has recently hired the cost educational partners to train our teachers about ethnic studies. This concern is based on my reading of the material published by this organization on their website, as well as historical omissions. And for phrases like this by its founder, Dr. Schoman, I have successfully defended my curriculum from concerted Zionist attacks. I'm a Jewish refugee from a former Soviet Union. I'm an American Jew, and now I want to be a Zionist, not because I'm interested in attacking Dr. Schoman's curriculum, but because I want to defend the minds and hearts of our children from bias at their most vulnerable age. I'd like to share our recent experience with LASD. Our daughter was presenting to her class about Holocaust on Holocaust Remembrance Day. When she finished, her 6th grade teacher, instead of talking about the tragedy of murdering 6 million people due to their ethnic and religious identity, changed the topic of the discussion and informed the class that America allowed creation of Israel, and now Israel is taking over Palestinian land and hurting people who live there. The teacher repeated this statement as a part of social studies on Asian Judaism the following morning at the 2nd 6th grade class. LASD formal legal investigation that we demanded concluded that the teacher's comments were ill-timed, inappropriate, according to the elementary school curriculum, but did not constitute bias. The investigator did conclude that last year, 6th graders at Springer left the classroom after Holocaust Remembrance Day presentation, remembering that even though Jewish people had suffered in the past, now they are causing suffering of others. We worked with the school to bring another educator to reteach the kids about Holocaust. Unfortunately, no one can take back what has already reached our children's minds. When my wife and I met with the teacher and listened to her apologies, I asked her what motivated her to pivot the conversation from the extermination of 6 million Jewish people to the modern day policies of the State of Israel. That is nowhere near the 6th grade curriculum. The teacher said she didn't know. It is possible that this teacher truly had no idea where this blanket association of Jewish people, Judaism, Holocaust, Israel, and Palestinian conflict came from. She just said what was on her mind and her heart. I wonder if this is something that was taught to her by her teacher or a parent to the extent that she no longer could suppress her rhetoric. This is why I'm here addressing all of you. I ask you to be very diligent in deciding who can have the responsibility to teach and what the curriculum should aim to achieve. It is much harder and painful to unlearn bigotry than mathematical misconception. Thank you for your time.
Thank you very much. Next speaker, Mark Balch.
Thank you and good evening. My name is Mark Balch. I've lived in the district since 2004 and the area since 1997. We have 3 children. 1 graduated from Mountain View High School and 2 are currently enrolled. I'm Jewish. I serve on the board of our synagogue. I have served as an officer of the Jewish Democratic Club of Silicon Valley. I also serve on the board of the American Jewish Committee, San Francisco region. My grandparents and great-grandparents arrived poor from violent oppression in Europe around the turn of the 20th century in this country. Their children became teachers dedicated to public service. Jews from around the world come in all shapes, sizes, and skin colors. We are a people with distinct shared history, cultural background, and experiences. In modern America, Jews are too often dismissed as European colonizers or white people. Jews are indigenous across the Middle East and hail from Europe, Asia, Africa, and elsewhere. The neo-Nazis in Charlottesville chanting "Jews will not replace us" certainly don't consider us white. We have every right to be treated with the same respect and protections as any other ethnic group. We ask for parity and to have our perspectives represented in ethnic studies. Certainly not by people and organizations with abundant evidence of bigotry towards Jews. We provide publicly verifiable references to this evidence. What happens in MVLA high schools influences our UC campuses and vice versa. My oldest son at UC Santa Barbara witnessed hateful anti-Semitic graffiti and flyers in this past January, which was documented in mainstream media. Governor Newsom and other elected officials involved in ethnic studies legislation have consistently spoken against anti-Semitism in ethnic studies. MVLA has a responsibility and an obligation to uphold the spirit of the law and teach ethnic studies representing the multiple groups it serves in the community. Though Jews may be a small minority, we continue to face disproportionate bigotry here in the United States, as tracked by FBI hate crime statistics. The liberated ethnic studies movement has shown it is no friend of Jews. Please join with the 400 people who signed our letter in the past 3 days and prohibit teacher training by anyone associated with the liberated ethnic studies movement, and ensure full transparency in ethnic studies curriculum development and training. Thank you very much for supporting our community.
Thank you, Mark. Next speaker is Brad Newman.
Thank you. I'm Brad Newman. I have 4 children currently at Mountain View High School. No child, no student in this district should feel like they are lesser than because of their race or religion. Anti-Semitism is racism, and I congratulate and am encouraged by this board's response to what's gone on. But listening to my fellow speakers and looking at the facts, there's a lot of things that have to happen. While I'm encouraged by your initial response and credit that the Acosta group might have snuck in here, now that we know who they are, they need to be shown the door. Because you cannot teach high school children not to be racist, but teach anti-Semitism. Soft, subtly hidden, snuck in. There is no good racism. And critical race theory and the laws of the state that mandate 9th graders be taught ethnic studies is laudable, but not when you're scapegoating one religion. And the Acosta group is sneaking around. Go on the internet, read about them, read about their agenda, read about how they're training teachers what to do behind closed doors because they know it can't be done out in the open. This is a very serious issue. And my fellow speakers, more articulate than me, have made great points. But I think you can see we aren't weak-kneed. We aren't a special group that sits cowering in the corner taking it. We have eyes on this. We have eyes on this here. We have eyes on this in other school districts. We want the law to be followed here, and we want the law to be followed everywhere. Now, I could tell you stories about anti-Semitism right here on campus, but that's not necessarily going to change minds tonight. I believe each one of you know what's right and what's wrong. And there are plenty of providers who can come in here and teach students about equality, anti-racism, etc., without bringing in the hustle of, but there's this bad group because of their religion. We are proud people. We want equality. We want others to be treated equal. And there was a gentleman that I admired in Dr. Martin Luther King. I invite all you to read what he said about the Jewish people and how important they are to the struggle for 2023. And I know we're in Silicon Valley, and I know everything that's going with at UC Berkeley and places like that. But these kids don't have a choice. They're not at Berkeley doing the anti-Israel hustle. By law, they have to go to high school. And by law, they have to be taught ethnic studies. Please make it fair. Get the bad apples out. Get the good ones in to teach this very worthwhile subject matter. But rest assured, we're watching, and we hope everything goes the right way. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Next speaker is Cindy Anderson.
Thank you, Dr. Felice. My name is Cindy Anderson, and I live in Los Altos. I'm the mother of 3 Los Altos High School graduates, and the grandmother of one current student. Not too many people can make that claim. I'm also a past president of the Mountain View Los Altos Foundation, a Los Altos High School avid volunteer, and a current mentor for students in the MVLA Scholars Program. I believe this district is one of the finest in the country, and my children have benefited and received excellent educations. I especially value the focus on the needs of the whole child, both academic and emotional, and I've experienced that firsthand. Our grandson, Ilya, arrived in August from Ukraine. He spoke very little English and was suddenly separated from his extended family, friends, school, and life, escaping with his mother with 40 minutes to pack their earthly possessions and flee the country. Los Altos High and Mrs. Satterwhite welcomed him with open arms. The teachers and administrators did an amazing job helping him adjust to life here. The English Learners Program is excellent, and he now speaks almost fluent English. He's participated in varsity water polo and wrestling, enjoys his classes and teachers, and feels welcomed and safe in his new country, school, and home, just like he should. How to square such a positive experience against the proposed ethnic studies program? This curriculum is clearly biased and endorses the vehemently anti-Israel BDS movement. Anti-Semitism is frequently cloaked in anti-Zionist rhetoric, but we've seen this movie before. At the end, it all comes down to the same thing, a deeply seated hatred of Jews, of the other. How could such an organization provide a curriculum in ethnic studies for our students here at Mountain View Los Altos High? Anti-Semitism is at an all-time high in our district and in our country. Just last week, a bomb threat was called into Kahila High School in Palo Alto and another high school further up the peninsula. At my synagogue, Congregation Beth Am, we're having to move funding intended for a new enriched curriculum and instead spend it on security measures. This program has no place in our district. Please pass a board resolution prohibiting any material in ethnic studies courses from containing any anti-Semitic or anti-Zionist content or bias. Furthermore, please prohibit any training, further training by anyone associated with the liberated ethnic studies. Our students deserve better than that. Thank you.
Thank you, Cindy. Vivian Wildman.
My name is Vivian Wildman. I'm a parent who has sent 3 children to Mountain View High School and a teacher who has taught in Los Altos as well as East Palo Alto. I am also the child of Holocaust survivors with grandparents I never met because they died in Auschwitz. As such, I'm concerned that anti-Semitic incidents have reached a 40-year high in this country. The best way to counter this is through education. The ethnic studies program is supposed to celebrate different cultures and develop empathy for different groups who continue to face discrimination and violence. The Camp Everytown program that some of my children went through at Mountain View High was a great example of this. I'm therefore appalled and shocked that MVLA is adopting training and curriculum by purveyors of hate against Jews. They draw false equivalencies between our Jewish homeland, Israel, and the experiences of ethnic groups in the US. I say this as a teacher who has reviewed curriculum authored by Acosta and Tillman, the same people who helped write the first draft of the California Ethnic Studies course that was rejected by Governor Newsom, have changed the name of their organization and are attempting to sneak this curriculum into our local schools. We are better than this. We can and should teach ethnic studies without pushing political agendas and denigrating Jews in our culture or any group. I'd like to conclude with a quote. The ethnic studies program at Mountain View Los Altos should neither indoctrinate nor politicize. It should be aligned with outcomes that neither disparage nor elevate any ethnicity. This was written to me by the MVLA School Board President, Phil Felice, in a response to an email I sent to school board members before the election. I know you and hopefully the entire school board believe this quote, and I hope you will correct the mistake by prohibiting further training by the Liberated Ethnic Studies group and by ensuring that any program that is taught here follows the constructive ethnic studies curriculum. Thank you.
Thank you. I thought I recognized those words. Okay, our next speaker is Ben Samek.
Good evening. My name is Ben Samick. I'm a student at Los Altos High School, and I recently heard about the controversy surrounding the new program of ethnic studies, specifically about anti-Semitism and anti-Zionism. As a member of the Los Altos High School Jewish community, this is, at the very least, a little bit worrying. Anti-Semitism is a bias against people for what they believe in, and I, for one, believe that that should not be taught in our schools. Although there is a difference between anti-Semitism and anti-Zionism, they tend to blend together, as those who hate aren't very particular. The recent rise of anti-Semitism only creates a better environment for these harmful ideas to thrive. It's unfair for the organization that's in charge of teaching me and other children to advocate for a program that teaches people to hate me for who I am. I don't believe that any side is ever completely right, but what I do know is that teaching a narrow and hateful view is wrong. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Ben. Do we have any more speakers? Thank you all. As I said, we cannot engage in discussion, but I assure you, as I said in my letter, that the administration is continuing to look into this, and we are hoping for a successful resolution. Did you have something?
Yeah.
Oh, you have, were you missed? I'm sorry, let me apologize. Shira Ariel.
Hello, my name is Shira, and I'm an MVLA parent of 3 students, including an incoming freshman. First of all, thank you for your response to our community regarding anti-Semitism and the AEP training. I am here to request that more action be taken to protect our community from bias and hate. My kids have each experienced anti-Semitism, and it is the collective responsibility of all of us to work towards removing and not encouraging anti-Semitism in our community. I believe in transparency. I also believe in open, respectful dialogue, as well as the power that bringing diverse perspectives together can bring. Transparency builds trust. On the flip side, lack of transparency creates ill will and leads to distrust. Along those lines, I find it incredibly concerning that the principles of AEP include authors of the original Ethnic Studies model curriculum. The first draft, which was referred to by Assemblyman Luis Alejo, was a step back in need of revision. These people have gone on to create the Liberated Ethnic Studies Consortium, which promotes that first draft of the ESMC and has training for teachers and encourages them to have the quote, correct politics and to fly under the radar of administration in order to teach ethnic studies. It is clear tonight that these teachers have done just that by pushing through AEP training in a consent agenda item vote. Members of the board, this is that lack of transparency that I caution against, that only creates ill will and builds distrust. Furthermore, Ms. Showman, an AEP principal and a Liberated Ethnic Studies leader, considers multiple perspectives to be a term of privilege and a concept that does not belong in the classroom. She also instructs teachers in her Liberated Ethnic Studies curriculum to shut their doors and to fly under the radar to teach controversial material. Again, this is not transparency, it is not diversity, and worse yet, it is alarming. MVLA should be ensuring an equitable and inclusive ethnic studies student experience in the district by allowing educators who have spoken publicly with vile anti-Semitic comments to train our teachers. You are allowing a pathway for hate and bias in our classrooms, as many of the parents and and community members have mentioned. The state passed legislation with clear intent that school districts should not adopt the content that was rejected from the model curriculum's first draft. Liberated ethnic studies preserves the rejected ideologically driven content. The first federal lawsuit against Liberated Ethnic Studies Consortium and the district implementing their curriculum has already been filed in California's Central District. By allowing anybody associated with Liberated Ethnic Studies to have influence over MVLA's ethnic studies training and curriculum, I am concerned that you are also opening yourselves up to a similar lawsuit. It's essential that the staff who oversee the training and curriculum development be true to the mission and promote curriculum consistent with legislative intent. Unfortunately, AEP does not share this vision and should not have these responsibilities. Instead, please hire a constructive ethnic studies expert to train our teachers. Constructive ethnic studies focuses on understanding and countering racism for all and the need for social justice, which should be the goal of MVLA's ethnic studies course. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Shira. Have I missed anyone else? Okay, in that case, I'll thank you all and we'll move on with the agenda. Okay, we are up to the consolidated motion. Anybody have anything to pull? Steven? Did something wrong with this?
Hold it down for a second.
Yes, I would like to pull item 16.4.
16.4. Okay. And is there any other item that anyone would like to pull? Okay, in that case, may I have an motion for approving of the consolidated motion except for 16.4?
I move that we approve. I move that we approve the consolidated motion 16.1 through 16.11, excluding 16.4, which has been pulled.
Thank you.
Seconded.
Moved by Catherine, seconded by Theta. Board, student board members, we'll start with Sadie this time. Thank you, Sadie. Ava? Thank you, Ava. Board members, indicate your vote. Raise your hand. Motion carries 5-0. Okay, 16.4. Theta, you have a question?
Yes, I had a question and this is because I'm a new board member and in the spirit of transparency, which was mentioned. I understand this is an amendment about the West Wing, but I wasn't a trustee when the original plan was approved. So I feel I need to do my due diligence. So specifically, I'm asking about the engineering lab. And are we building enough capacity for a proposed CTE expansion?
First of all, thank you for the question, because as we are working on construction and as the facilities plan was created, we have done so much in the area of career technical education. Upon asking the question about facilities and how they match with our future educational program, we have determined that we do have the capacity and that this area can be and other areas can support future career pathways. It may involve, as we get farther down the line, in perhaps moving staff from one room to the other, but this expansion will support future career technical ed.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, Theta. Thank you, Nelly. Having heard that, is there anyone who would like to make a motion regarding 16.4?
Motion.
Okay, moved for approval by Theta,
Second.
seconded by Catherine. Ava, how would you vote? Okay. Thank you very much, Sadie. Board members, any discussion? All in favor, please raise your hands. Motion carries 5-0. And I believe we are now in that section of the agenda where we get to hear some reports. And let's begin with Alta Vista. Suzanne, principal of Alta Vista, Suzanne Wolford.
Work here, shall I move back or what would be said?
Anyone will help you there? Thank you.
Yeah, and move it a little bit.
Thank you, folks.
Awkward beginning. There we go. Well, first of all, thank you for allowing me to have a few moments to share with you highlights and points of focus for Alta Vista High School this evening. So thank you. And I hope I get this clicker right. Okay. All right, so the overall highlight of what I'd like to speak to all of us about tonight is access to true graduation opportunity. So this is a way that I chunk together our mission, what we're doing at Alta Vista High School. So the points of focus that we'll be talking about tonight: attendance, enrollment in graduation requirements, and achievement in graduation requirements, and then closing out talking about points of focus around community and belonging. So tonight, I want to share our challenges and our strategies to accelerate achievement and access to graduation. You'll hear about interventions and points of pride that continue to grow into this school year. So speaking about last school year and into this fall and January bit throughout tonight's presentation. There we go. So for those of us in the audience, as well as on the board, a little bit of review. Alta Vista High School is a continuation high school. As of today, of 83 students. We were proud enough to send 8 of our students that were caught up back to their main campuses just a month ago. We also have 6 full-time teachers, 1.5 instructional assistants, as well as a principal, a community resources coordinator, program support specialist, and a part-time college career coordinator. We serve Los Altos High School in Mountain View, which you know, as well as Palo Alto and Gunn High Schools. We have 5-period day for all of our students, with an additional advisory period every Friday. Our campus serves students from 7:30 a.m. to 3:30 p.m. every day. And that includes an additional 6-period hour that all teachers staff for intensive remediation 3 times per week, as well as something we've just begun this semester, which is a 0 period for students that have online learning but need additional support with our teachers. We use a detailed point tracking system, awarding points or credits, as we think of them, across subjects every 2 weeks. So what that means is every 2 weeks, instead of a 10-week reporting cycle, we have honor roll, report and progress reports, and rounds of advisor and administrator intervention meetings. Teachers also report completed grades, and I enter completed credits on transcripts on a daily basis, essentially giving students immediate incentive, engagement, and feedback. A little bit more about us. We offer 4 years of remediation, as well as on-track, what we call in-seat or in-person learning in math and English and social sciences and health. We also offer 2 years worth of science and PE and a range of electives in person, such as sports, culinary, art, career explorations, and even law. We also have teacher support for additional online college prep, honors, and AP curriculum offerings that our students select to round out their elective interests and requirements. All teachers have 3 or more preps and multi-grade rosters, even in the same class periods, to meet students' very diverse graduation and learning needs. So let's delve in a little bit to points of focus. So we're talking about access to true graduation opportunity. So the first thing I think about is, can we get everyone to the location where the learning can and should be happening? That's attendance, so access to learning. So I wanted to share with you a bit of data here. I'm so sorry, I hope you don't need the eyeglass here. I know it's tiny print, so I was just going to highlight a few things. We have attendance data monthly from 2021-22, and then comparing to those months that we've had this year. And I need to say, even last year's attendance data
was much improved, in some months even double from COVID times. That's what we call the dark ages between roughly the fall 2019 data that we have until fall 2021. So where we started 2021 August to 2022, we're even seeing some great growth in our attendance. This is excused as well as unexcused. So ill and repeat attendance refusal, anxiety, and so on, or unexcused. So August in 2021, 70%, pretty good, got to say, for continuation school. And then this year we are averaging anywhere from 11% higher, like in August, 81% attendance this August 2022. If we skip into January, we got into the 50% last spring, and we're starting this spring in the mid 75%. I'd expect February to be higher, but we're waiting to see that. We show students that past history is not who they are, and that life-changing good habits can be structured in a matter of 1 to 3 weeks, right? Changing those routines and helping them. We help students and families find solutions to transportation and morning routine breakdowns, and we build confidence and belonging with everyday reinforcement. Now, post-COVID, many administrators will echo the same message that I'd say. We have seen new heights to school anxiety and refusal in our at-promise students, but you can look at our data. We're doing some great work and continue to grow in this point of focus, getting students to the table so that they can learn. We have serious needs for creative interventions, that's what we call it, and connection making. So what kinds of things we've been trying, and I'll speak to fall 2022 in particular and this semester. What unique interventions are we offering at Alta? Well, what we've begun this year, personal calls home by second period for any absent students. So live voices on the phone, finding where's your child and how can we help. Bilingual texting from computer, as well as my phone, and all other ways to families and students. A lot of times families, parents are working and they can't answer that live call. And also now with bilingual texting, it's not just Alba and I that would be doing the bilingual resources, but a little bit more help in our office. I've started home and workplace visits. I've made over 20 visits so far this year, working with all the community and family members that students count on to help them arrive and get to school. And so principal, myself, and our community resources coordinator, Alpa, do outreach daily, phone calls, in-person meetings. Walk-ins are always welcomed and never turned away. We have flex schedules for students that work where it's needed, right? We want them 5 periods. We need them online learning sometimes too, but also we realize students have to work to provide for themselves and their families. We know that some students that have had months, if not years, of truancy or school refusal or anxiety need to warm up to a length of a day, maybe starting with 1 period and working up into 5. We work with therapists and so on to figure out the right formula for them. We work with students that need childcare for their toddlers or even for their current pregnancies to help them with their health needs. And also we work with students that are close to graduation and they need fewer classes or periods. We really do also focus attendance-wise with our sophomores, getting them out of habits as early as possible and showing incentives to learning and engagement. And we'll talk a little bit more about that under community and belonging. So let's take a break and look a little bit for graduation rates. I highlighted in yellow the main thing we might talk about from last year, a huge jump you'll see, okay, which was really hard work. Staff and students working together for a 71% graduation rates. We look at our graduation rates before our points of focus of enrollment and achievement and actual grad requirements. Now, this jump, I have to say, is due to the last of our ability to have graduation requirement exemptions due to AB 104. So that was 90 credits less required last year of our graduates, largely elective and English credits. So coming into this year, we worked over the spring and into the summer to address what we saw would be additional credits, right? That our seniors are going to be held to the 220 credits, even though they've had the effects in so many ways of remote learning and disengagement. So getting referrals sooner from our comp sites, from Gunn, Palo Alto, as well as Mountain View and Los Altos, increasing our elective options and out-of-class engagement and credit recovery options, We've also increased returnees to home schools so that we can focus on credit recovery for seniors in particular. So yes, that affects our grad rates, right? They'll graduate with Los Altos with Mountain View, but it's right for our students at all levels to be able to focus on those that need us most. We do predict graduation rates may decrease this year and summer grads increase as they need a little bit more time to complete those 220 credits. And we've analyzed content area needs of students when they dropped out or got referred to adult ed because they weren't given sufficient access, or they were referred too late to Alta Vista High School, and added opportunities this year for credit acceleration, especially, like I said, in English and electives. So this next piece here, true enrollment in your graduation requirements. I'm not going to break apart everything here, but this is a very important what we set as thresholds, similar to in district guidelines for years have been. But this is data informed thresholds for what would be the credits, right? To give students a fair shot given their credit earning potential at Alta Vista High School for sophomore, junior, senior year. So do students have a fair shot? Do they have access to graduation requirements and enough time to get those done to graduate within 4 years? So this is data-informed referral timing. This is our strategy to increase access to learning and graduation for our district students, as well as Palo Alto Unifieds, that are credit deficient. And based on the credit earning averages of past Alta Vista High School students, particularly in 2021-22, we can maximize how and when we help all of our district students at Alta. So, for example, last spring, I began aligning referral credit thresholds in spring 22 with both Los Altos and Mountain View, and then using these specific guidelines. For example, an 11th grader under 135 credits, time for Alta at this time in the year. We use these specific thresholds and guidelines to guide and identify students to help our comprehensive sites know, here's some names. Are you running interventions with them? Or is it, is it time for them to come over to Alta so they have a fair shot at graduating on time or returning to your campus? Okay. Achievement and graduation requirements. So they're not only attending and enrolled, but those attending are truly meeting learning benchmarks and mastering concepts. So we do not award points or credits for showing up, although attendance is beautiful. We award credits just as our comprehensive sites for true learning and meeting and mastering concepts. So this gives you an idea. We have a small sample, for example, of our juniors that tested in English and math last year as part of CASP standardized testing. And what we did this year was something to give you an idea of our fellow continuation schools and how we compare, even with this, 32 juniors, but still, that's the data we have for our sample. And I know this is small, so I'm just going to give you a few bits here. We have Alta Vista High School, New Valley Continuation High School, and Peninsula High School, so our nearby continuation schools. And for example, here you'll see that Alta Vista High School in ELA, English Language Arts, 47% of our juniors last spring met or exceeded the ELA standards, compared to our sister schools, 11 to 16% met or exceeded those standards. And then we have data and math. Remember that these are for students that have typically worked through Algebra 1 and some geometry, right? Before they stop with their math requirements. So our math, 11% have met or exceeded their math. And we're still working on this compared to our neighboring campuses that are continuation schools of 0 to 2.5% having met or exceeded their math standards. So here's my favorite slide to take a minute with. And I know it's small, so I'm going to just say things. I'm so sorry, this is small font here. A real point of pride, and I'll give you a little bit of a fall 2022 preview because I expect these things to keep growing. The work that's happened, fall 2019, only because it gives us a little bit of pre-COVID data, and then working into last year and seeing growth through fall 2022. Our mid-range kids are earning now 51, almost 52 credits per year versus 40.4 credits per year in 2019. So that's work we've been doing along the way to accelerate and engage our students. Now, our top quartile students, you'll see, are earning 77.2 credits per year now versus 55.8 credits per year back in 2019. That means they're succeeding in more classes. They're passing and succeeding in more classes annually than they'd even have had access to being enrolling in a year at their comp sites. Also, something that we're all very, very proud of. Now, we have 2-week marking periods, so that's a lot of records when it comes to honor roll. But we so far averaging 23% on honor roll this year versus 7% on honor roll pre-COVID at our height. So this is great news as we move ahead. Okay, we just have 2 more slides, I believe. So community and belonging, this is true access to graduation opportunity as well, and engagement. So we've given a survey to our student body basically a year and a month ago, the start of fall, as well as, well, they've been with us for 2 months this year, and then just this last month. So you can see these are really important things to us, especially when you have a large population that is involuntarily transferred to a campus, to feel included and as if they belong. Feeling safe on campus, we continue to grow, and this is just something we're really proud of. 100% doesn't happen all the time, but we have a close community that's built and they feel safe. So those that actually like Alta Vista High School, whether or not they chose it for themselves, 54% about a year and a month ago, 80% by this fall, and then a consistent 80% for January. By fall 2022, we also had 86% saying they feel their differences are respected, and similar numbers for those that feel respected by teachers as well as their peers. And I love this, that 78% would recommend Alta Vista to a friend, whether or not they needed it. We do have voluntary transfers. So I love that. Okay, we're back to pictures. I'm more comfortable with pictures. So community and belonging, what are we building and how? And this would say, really speaking from last spring on, we brought ASB leadership and have grown it this year. Spirit and activities began last spring as well. It's a club for credit, ASB leadership. I'm an ASB teacher at heart, right, Sadie? Yeah, so we have that same class in a club form. We'd love to have a section of it daily, but kids come in on their lunch and they just love it. We have school-wide spirit weeks. We just had one of our own last week. We have wellness weeks as well. We have a wellness game rooms. And we've had that throughout this year. Mentor tutor program, an entire community with our coordinator, Gina Estrada, who is amazing. And she does daily brunch and lunch games, snacks and activities. We have holiday meals and gift packages, not only for our students at Thanksgiving and winter break on campus, but also, for example, Thanksgiving, working with partners so that 45 families got feasts at home. Aztec Boutique is something we started this year. Alba leading the charge with clothing, shoes, toiletries, and lots more, available for all students at any time. We also have a snack shack that we coordinate with Second Harvest in the lobby at all times. And then, bribery. Right? Bribery. No, incentives is what we call it. So there has to be a reason to come to school, so that until you realize you're engaged inherently with the learning, we engage you with really exciting things. So field trips are some of those. We really try to pick field trips where you wouldn't have access perhaps, or otherwise unavailable experiences, and at no charge to students. So far we've gone to San Francisco State University, San Jose State University, Foothill, and we have plans for Santa Cruz and San Jose City College in the works for this spring. We have, you've heard a little bit about it, I know, the sports league competitions. We've had over 20 away games for volleyball, flag football, basketball, and we will have softball. We'd love home games, but for now, families and students actually travel to continuation schools that have those, like the gym and other facilities. We do theater field trips. Today, we actually just got back from a school-wide trip with 60 of us to California Academy of Sciences. It's been a long, fabulous day. It was great. And tomorrow night, actually, our English teacher, Bonnie Mahalik, she wrote a grant and she was awarded 10 tickets for our students to hear Nobel Peace Prize winner, Malala Yousafzai. I always say it wrong, speaking about leadership and the importance of education. So we try to keep it interesting. All right, so that brings us to a close. These are the things that we are working on and will continue to grow in. Expanding our attendance intervention and outreach, access to CP in-seat learning. And I just want to say February was a big month we're very proud of. Our teachers have been working hard and we have been approved for in-seat learning at the college prep level in all 4 levels of English, all levels of history, except econ is pending, all levels through algebra 2 of math. And we have a few others that are pending that we're excited about. And growing a sense of community and belonging, offering academic counseling. Our advisory has become a time for curriculum, and between administration and advisor, individual 4-year plan meetings, those things are growing. And expanding our English elective offerings and working with our comprehensive sites on coming on over to Alta when a student needs us. So thank you so much. I want to say a huge thank you to Nellie for guidance and counseling throughout this year and really the years prior as well. And thank you to Ed Services and to Terry for constant support and response. And then I have a very special person right here who, Wendy Dowling, is my mentor as well as data analyst and all things. She just squeals when you talk about WASC. And so I know I don't get it, but she does. And that's all that matters. That's Wendy. So thank you.
So thank you, Suzanne. And I have to say, those were very impressive statistics.
Thanks.
So we've had a great first year. Keep up the good work.
Thank you.
Any questions for Suzanne? Yes, go ahead, Catherine.
I'll go first. And one of them was, well, one of them's a comment. You've gone to 20 visits to home. So that means 20.
Summer work. So sometimes you have to see who's the person closest to that student and how can I help? Well, I'll help. I'll do trips with the student to help them apply. Sometimes, you know, a few students told me, I don't, and this is typical to teenagers, but also teenagers that have not felt successful or included. They don't know whether a place isn't hiring or if they're not hiring because they see them, right? So I visit workplaces to find out who's hiring prior and always make sure they know I'm their reference and go with them sometimes. And then sometimes it's just to make sure, well, if you want the work permit, how can we and manager, you know, work together?
Yeah. The other question I have has to do with the other partners, Gunn and Pally. How many people do you have from there?
So it's interesting. We have an agreement that is a mysterious number to Herb Espiritu, my parallel, and myself, but somewhere around 5. But right now we have 2 students from Palo Alto. So I think this is, and also what I've learned this year is they had some different maybe understandings of what still the idea a bit antiquated of a behavior referral, almost as if it's an expulsion or community school, which we are not. And so we've done a lot of work this year. We had Gunn and Palo Alto High School counselors and administrators in last week, just so they could see what our campus is about and the options we can have for their students. And Mr. Spiritu and I have been working pretty closely this year to try to open the really we're their continuation high school and not having the referrals that even 10 years ago, there used to be 15, even 20 Palo Alto Unified students at Alta. So we're seeing what we can do.
So first of all, just really impressive. I love data. So really impressive data. And
So does Wendy.
yeah, and especially the 100% students feeling safe and 80% feeling connected. So I think that's just incredible. And obviously a lot of hard work and also your attendance. So I have a question for you. Could you talk a little bit about, because we had another talk about chronic absenteeism, and I'm new, so I'm going to ask these questions. I know there's a relationship between credits and chronic absenteeism, because obviously if you're not in class, then you're probably not going to pass. But are you thinking about if a student is chronically absent, that might be a criteria. That are you having those conversations with the comprehensive high schools about students that are chronically absent? Because clearly, for whatever I think the data we heard was that they don't feel they belong at the school, and they're not. And also, secondarily, they're not seeing effort for their work. And from what you're saying, if they get feedback every 2 weeks, then they're going to either see positive or negative effects. But 2 weeks is a very short period of time to see something.
Right. So I hear what you're saying, and might be a little circular, but I'd say, so both WIN and KIP's administrative teams work very closely with me. And we've also had a history of working together over the last prior 8 years. And as they came in, the newer individuals. So there's two things I think that happen. And then working with our comp sites, I can see that it's an environment and an attention to particular students that changes when they come to Alta Vista High School. So yes, we try all sorts of really positive interventions at the large sites. What I will see, we've had students that, they're doubling their attendance. Even those students that have been 40 to 100% truant at their prior school, they're actually at least doubling their attendance once they've come this year to Alta Vista High School. I've had students as a Los Altos administrator, right? It was the same administrator. It was me on a big site. And I've had students that they were not coming for months, if not years. And now in a smaller environment, there's so many factors that go into that we could talk more about. And with constant encouragement daily and seeing a payoff every 2 weeks, it completely changes the game. If you think about it, right? So sometimes our students, what happens is high achieving or very hard on themselves. Something goes wrong in the cog that is a big high school situation. And I'm 2 months in, I did great. I had a mental health episode. And yes, it was excused, but I came back, I felt buried, right? There's no forgiveness in that in a big system, right? No matter what we do and how caring our teachers are, that is how a semester system can feel to some students. And then they feel they've lost a semester. So when they see how they can accelerate and they can see how points add up every 2 weeks, if I have a bad week, that affected those 2 weeks, but it didn't tank the next 2 months. It just feels so positive. That's
Thank you so much.
Thanks.
I just want to congratulate you on the monthly attendance from 57 to 75 is
thanks.
Crazy great. I can appreciate that because I know about the winner always. The winner did. And I'm sure that text messaging is probably significantly. My question for you was, how are you and the team speaking to students around secondary education?
Oh, thank you. We didn't talk that much about that, but I bet in June we might. So post-secondary options. What we set with our seniors I'm sorry, having the piece last year before I was there, I do know that was the starting works of Lisa Falsetti coming in as part-time into the college and career coordinator role, in the sense of starting to bring in presenters and organizing field trips. And we've built on that this year. Advisory has curriculum now that is meaningful, with advisors acting as satellite counselors in some ways. And what we started the year at as early as August in assembly was speaking to our seniors about, not only do we want you to graduate, that's wonderful, but we need to give you access to those things that you might not realize you want, or have had the connections of the networking to do, or the exposure to realize. And so this year we set a goal of, if there's training you want, and we're going to help you find it, whether it's in career explorations or meeting person by person with our seniors, we'll graduate and we'll have training to get you to a living wage salary. So if we look at that in our area, we're talking $30 to $35 an hour or higher, that's assuming a shared apartment, yes. But that's the start. And for example, we have 10 students that are doing the eye care technician program that Terry has been amazing in planning an extended day for our students. It starts next month for those 10. They'll have transportation from Alta, be fed dinner at adult ed, and then Julie takes over. We also have students pursuing technology certificate programs. We've had presenters come in around trades and unions. So not just that you have employment, but that you have training and the path up to not frankly be exploited or burn out before you get additional education. So that's what we've set as our goal for our students. And we do actually have 27 of our 83 have IEPs, which means many of them have the resources through workability. And we also are setting up with Lynette and Amber internship possibilities in the summer for our juniors that are moving in.
Thank you. Any further questions, Sanjay?
Yeah, so like you, I think the one that excited me most was the credit earning rate. Pretty amazing results. And what I gathered from your complete presentation, you would contribute this most to confidence and belonging. Think that be true?
I think so, and how creative and hardworking my teachers are.
Okay. So
yes,
yeah, and so but I guess to me this difference between 19 and 22, it's pretty staggering. So what else would you say this changed?
I think there has been so this is the end of fall 2022. So I think something that is common that students know now is that there's an advisor that's very involved in the points and tracking, as well as parents involved with administrator. And I think that the more and more we incorporate the grade level counseling and individual four-year planning that happens so well on our main sites into Alta Vista High School. If you think about our kiddos, surrounding districts like Fremont Union, they compare an alternative continuation high school student would be like the equivalent of 4, right? So it's 83 students, but the workload and contact of 4. That's a ratio I hear out there. So they need weekly attention to where they're going and how far they've come, and understanding how a transcript works. Think about that. That's equity access. That is, if you didn't have the parent, I didn't have the parents, right, that understood anything much about college. Understanding your transcript can look so intimidating to you. So breaking that down with students, so that they can, I mean, some of our kids think of it like a video game, right? Like I've gamified, I can get these points this way, and I do this, I learn this, I do this. And I think helping them break down, yeah, we can all do this. Just do a little bit more of this and come in, 6th period on Wednesday, and you've got it. It's not a trick. It's nothing that's going to be held from you. You can do this.
So it's something the transcript thing was not something they learned or knew about at Mountain View Los Altos.
Nope.
Okay, so then they learned about it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that's good. I think belonging is you have, what they say, 80% of success is showing up. So
it truly is.
You mentioned flex schedule for students. How is that, and how do you do that?
Well, you try one thing, and when the one thing doesn't work, then we try plan B, plan C, plan D, plan E. So 5 periods, 5 days a week is the bulk of our students, right? I have students that even with a therapist doing at-home visit, I can't quite get them out of the house. So that might change what their day looks like. I have about 5 students that they're doing online check-ins and live Zooms with their teachers. There's students that can only get daycare for the times of this to this. So then they get periods 2 and 3, right? And then we work with them when they can. I text, remember, I have one sweetie that she likes to be reminded around 3:30 because that's about nap time. And so if you remind her, she'll work on econ, right? So flex schedule sometimes is around work schedule where they can't come in 6 periods. So then, okay, come in at 7:30 a.m. We're here. Let us work with you.
That's great. And my last question, on the, moving into 2022, 23 and beyond. You mentioned expand English and elective offerings. So what, can you be specific on what you would like to see expanded there?
Sure. So I think we're doing really exciting things there already. And that was something last spring and summer. We started Jen Lewis and Lisa Falsetti used, I think, Tara, was it innovation grant? They worked over the summer to figure out, particularly related to CTE. But what would be things we could do on campus as well as online? So for example, not only do we have Ingenuity as with the rest of the district, but we've had lots of success this year with CP honors AP offerings through another provider, Acellus, that just has different format. With our teachers working with the students, sometimes side by side right there, but it allows them to take courses that our teachers are not credentialed to teach, perhaps the CP, or we don't have a class load worth of kids to do. So students sometimes come to us still needing 30, 35, even 40 credits of English. So even giving them 2 periods in the day, I can't get them what they need. So if I can't schedule them in to give them access, then I'm not giving them true access toward graduation. So then we might do a combination of after school and online with an additional English class, for example. The electives are really exciting that we've had students take up through, which is beautiful for students that are Spanish native speakers. Having them start into a 2nd or even 3rd year Spanish CP course, so it validates the prior knowledge, right? That's something that we've started doing this year. And there's even, there's robotics classes, there's sciences, we haven't delved into those, but there's really exciting things that students can do in electives that aren't on campus, but really engaging.
Thank you.
I just had a quick other comment as I've heard you talk. I really hear you modeling persistence and a growth mindset. And I think that they're 2 key things that you're teaching your students and are key to learning. So thank you.
I have one more question too. You mentioned parents in that last paragraph of one of the prior answers. So talk a minute about the engagement of the parents.
We have some great parents. And it started engagement wise in person versus calls, and when a parent needs it versus when we just say we have time for it, right? So one of my biggest changes, like I've been an administrator for 15 years. It was in year 16 this year that I realized truly what we learn as teachers, that you give somebody something when they need it, right? They learn it when they need it. Well, our families, when they need it, we have to give them that meeting or that phone call. So there's a constant daily, and individual contact is so much warmer versus large meetings for some of our families. However, we had really great turnout with enticing dinner that brought people in for back to school night. By the time we got to open house, we had, I think it was 20 of our families represented. And that's a lot if you consider there's 83 students, right? So we had a great turnout there, and that was in January. We also have things called care conferences, which happen 4 nights out of the year. The teachers identify students. So there'd be about, by the end of a year, there'd be 24, 25 students that would engage in this, where all teachers and staff and instructional aides stay into the evening to have a 30-minute meeting that the advisor guides. That's really positive for the family, right? So families there, students there, talking in depth about how can we work together. Other ways that our families engage, I'm sure I'm forgetting them. Invited when we do have, as is appropriate for the field trip as well, which is so much fun to see them root for their students that probably haven't been sports eligible for quite a while. So we're growing. I think we're growing. We did consider, can we have an Alta PTA? I don't think it's quite there yet. And we'd have to figure out what would be the mission. But I think there's really exciting ways of involving our families in the parent ed that is district wide, or even Kip's been really gracious, even with our students, to take ceramics or offering to take choir or even weight conditioning. And I think there might be some benefit to involving our families in our parent group PTAs until we can build.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you very much. And now we'll hear from our adult school and Julie Vo. Julie, good to see you again.
Thank you. So my name is Julie Vo. I'm the Director of Adult Education for the Mountain View Los Altos High School District. And we are very excited to present to you our annual review for the 21-22 school year. We'll also go over some of our current priorities and progress. Before we start, I would like to welcome our new board members and also introduce you to my leadership team. First is Jonathan Fu, our new Assistant Director. This is Sarah Krajewski, also a parent in the district. She is our ESL coordinator. And this is Gina Riccitelli, our transition advisor. And Dr. Molly Hava-Fai, our career technical education coordinator. Thank you. Unfortunately, due to unforeseen circumstances, two of our leadership team members couldn't attend today. That would be Danielle Din, our high school diploma and GED coordinator, as well as Gilbert Sigmiller, our CalWorks coordinator. Hopefully all of our board members and those tuning in at home have had a chance to review the annual report publication that we produced for you. This is our comprehensive data report that informs all of our strategies on our WASC action plan. So as I mentioned before, we'll be going over our school data as well as going over our current priorities and progress for our WASC plan. And here we have our mission and school-wide student learning outcomes. Just as a refresher, we feel it is important to provide you with some context as well as to regularly review these as a district as well as the community to ensure that all of our action plan strategies are in full alignment with our greater mission and vision, which you can see right there. Next, you will see the guiding principles for this year that have been refined and focused to address the needs of the current time period. And these guiding principles serve as our compass, leading us to our ultimate goal of student success. Underpinning all of these school-wide plans and school site goals is a strong foundation grounded in equity. Specifically, equitable access to education and the attainment of equitable outcomes from our students, which we'll expand upon later. Now, Jonathan will review our WASC goals and provide an update on our adult school enrollment data.
So MVLA Adult School is currently in its 6th year of its WASC accreditation cycle, and we are continuing with our 3 WASC school-wide goals. The first one being our integration of educational technology, instructional technology in our core academic programs. The second being increasing professional development opportunities for our teachers and staff. And the third being increasing opportunities for tutoring in our academic programs, specifically in ESL, GED, and CTE. So in the next slide, we have some information about our enrollments for this year. So our enrollments have increased since returning in person. We're currently at, well, last year we were at 4,564 compared to 3,900 in the previous year. If you can see in this chart, we have been increasing enrollments in the majority of programs at the school. ESL has seen a pretty big increase in numbers, as well as our community interest in older adults programs. Okay, and next I'd like to bring it over to Sarah, who will talk a little bit about our ESL program.
Hi, I'm Sarah Krajewski. Sandy Cutshall is my co-coordinator, and she just finished teaching citizenship 4 minutes ago. So she sends you her regards, but is not here. So what we've been working on is, as Suzanne said, we're past the dark time. Last year was a lot brighter. as we were able to come back in person, which is, especially for beginning level ESL learners, the only way to do this. Online was pretty hard. What we did recognize, however, was how important it was for us to be educators about technology. Going online showed us how much some of our students really didn't understand about technology, both using it particularly using it as a tool themselves, rather than just using something like Quizlet or Kahoot to learn from. So that has been a major focus of us over the past couple of years in professional development as well as planning. We have set technology exit goals for each level so that we will hopefully, when our students end our 6-level program, be well prepared to do any kind of online learning or in-person learning, including the technology piece from there on. We worked very hard on professional development as we came back and are working on questioning strategies and now moving into a lot of focus on reading skills for the next year. Yeah, we're very, very glad we have Chromebooks in every class and we're using them increasingly. And there's a lot of students, many students. They're back in droves. Thank you. Julie will now speak about high school diploma and GED.
There. So I love photos like Nellie. Here are some photos of our high school diploma and GED program. 3 of those pictures were taken at our graduation this past June. Our staff and students were just so excited to attend the first in-person combined graduation ceremony since the pandemic. In the bottom left picture there, you can see our GED evening class where we have fully integrated technology with the use of Google Classroom, Quizlet, and IXL. Moving along, for the 21-22 school year, we observed a significant increase in students earning both their high school diplomas and GED, as you can see, 31% increase in students earning a high school diploma and 69% in GED pass rates. This can be partially attributed to the reopening of the GED testing centers after the pandemic, as well as improved instructional strategies implemented in GED. As mentioned previously, we were thrilled to celebrate the achievements of our high school diploma and GED graduates in person for the first time since the pandemic, and this time we also included our CNA and MA graduates at the ceremony. With regards to our online summer school, students achieved an overall 87% pass rate. Thanks to the valuable feedback we received from district parents and students, we extended the length of our summer school sessions to 3 weeks in order to provide students with more time to complete their classes. And since this proved to be a successful format, we will continue that with this coming summer and we'll offer 2 3-week online summer school sessions again. For the current school year, the GED department continues to incorporate online resources like IXL and Quizlet to enhance GED instruction. These software tools provide teachers and students with timely feedback on how students are doing and allow us to address each student's critical learning needs. At the monthly high school diploma GED staff meetings, more time is dedicated to reviewing student work, student learning outcomes. This is very important because evening and morning teachers don't have many opportunities to collaborate and review student work together. Next, we're going to have Molly Hayes share some highlights about career technical education.
Thank you, Julia. Hi, everyone. So the graduates from our career technical education continue making us proud of their achievements. They not only meet their goals, but they're really exceeding their goals. Here you see some snapshots of our medical assistant program, the certified nursing program at their end of the clinical. When they do the clinicals, they meet with the site coordinators there, and they usually take pictures there. Again, CNA class that we had in collaboration with the ESL group, and of course our ICARE group, who we had very good experience with having them part of the ICARE Tech as some of the authors, the students also participated. So here are some highlights. Like I said, our students really exceed the goals. For example, for the MA students, the National Center for Competency Testing, NCCT testing, the pass rate is for nationally is around 54%, but our students have done rates of 90% and over the years. And you can see some of the other percentages here. We are really proud of the rate of success for our students. So continuing on with the priorities and progress. So in the CTE, we also help our teachers integrate the technology, the use of instructional technology in the development of curriculum into instructional means. So our students are constantly using, components like MindTap. They go through, of course, Google Classroom as an organizing tool. We use eConnect. They use all kinds of tools such as Zoom and Kahoot to get the instruction as effective as possible. As an example of professional development, because obviously our teachers need to be trained in this area. So we need to have professional development for them to be able to have access to the latest, trends in the use of technology, but also, make sure that the curriculum is aligned with the CTE standards that they have to use. We also help them with the tutoring, and we're going to hear more about the tutoring, especially with the peer tutoring for our students. So next, I think, Jonathan is going to cover the student services. Okay, great. We'll try.
Thank you. Thank you. It's wonderful to be here. We work with a wonderful team at the adult school. It's fantastic. So what I do is I have the privilege of meeting one-on-one with students to do some of the hand holding. We create a plan, a student transition plan, where I talk to them about their goals, their dreams, and their assets that they already have. And many people come with many rich assets. For the ESL community, many are professionals, maybe from other countries as immigrants. They're starting over. Others have family, have support. Others just have that will and that desire to, what you said, show up. So we're just excited. We'll go with anything and then take it to the next level. They come up with their own goals. Naturally, we present to them the option of college, of trainings, other CTE programs. Is it job? Is it any other goal that they have? It may be a volunteer. Maybe they're not sure, and that's okay. It's not about pushing people to, again, something beyond what they are in need of. So I'm excited to collaborate with the teachers and we work together to identify students, and they know how to navigate a student to my office. I created one-on-one appointments with the calendar. We're really big into QR codes and scanning that, and again, and getting the comfort with the technology. I set up a desk in my office where they come in, and I don't do things for them. I will sit with them, and we will work together on a job application like we did today, etc., whatever that need is. Okay, so I'm really excited about colleges, working very closely with the colleges, with our consortium. So Foothill College and De Anza primarily, we're aligning courses, we're aligning, really working together. Do we save seats for students? Do we what would be a good college course for your students that they would be interested in? Counseling 5, how do we get them into that and really coordinate the registration process for that? So we also had a great job fair. We extended it outdoors, which is wonderful. And now from that, we have evening tabling where employers are coming in the evening and setting up in our student lounge. And that gives access to our evening students who can't come to a daytime job fair, and also to employers who want access or the opportunity to present their opportunities to our students. And I go, room to room to let them know about that opportunity. And then some of the other things we're excited about is launching a newsletter. Again, so they can be aware that that I'm there for them, even if I'm not in their classroom, that there's other opportunities for them, that they should continue to think about what's available to them. I'm also using texting now more often with the students. Again, that is definitely a way to do that follow up and that soft inquiry to follow up with them. So we're just learning and growing together. I think I covered a lot. Thank you.
Okay, so to talk about another important support service for our students, and also one of our WASC goals, is our academic support that we've provided through tutoring through volunteers in the community. So in ESL, we've recently created conversation groups for higher level ESL students, and we have also included academic writing support for students as well too. In GED, we are providing one-on-one tutoring for students in math and science. And in CTE, we have an embedded tutor in the classroom that provides skills support for students in our healthcare programs, as well as medical terminology support as well. So another really important student support service is our technology advocates. So this little diagram on the left, this shows our tiers of support for students through our technology support tech advocates program. So the biggest tier over here is our general support, where we provide instructional videos and tutorials and other online resources for our students to get better access to technology. The next tier of support over here is workshops that we offer to small groups. So in the past, we've done workshops for students that are taking Zoom classes online. So we did some support for students to onboard them with learning how to use Zoom. More recently, we've provided support for new incoming ESL students, helping them get set up with their student emails and their Google Classrooms as well. And then the final tier of support is the individual support that we provide students through our technology advocate drop-in hours. So students have access to further support with more personalized instruction based on their needs. Okay, so after talking all about our student support services and our highlights in our academic programs, we wanted to present some student success stories. So here is a short video of one of our CTE students, and I'll go ahead and play that right now. I guess, Mike, you got that?
My name is Caressa Pardo. I attended the medical assistant course. I knew that I wanted to be a medical assistant, and when I started looking into different schools, my friend, she had actually recommended MVLA, which she had also heard through another friend. I was able to look into MVLA school and join their next course that they had coming up, which was the summer course. MVLA Adult School provided a very straightforward and detail-oriented course for me to take. I feel like their tests that they give us every week really helped us memorize our lessons of the week. I feel like it did help us prepare for the big NCCT test. My teacher, Dr. Abaya, I feel like she was very thorough and she hit all the points to know and memorize. After taking the NCCT test, they did place us in an externship. We were able to get more hands-on experience in the real world, which made it easier for us at taking an interview to land our job. I feel like MVLA did help us to prepare for the NCT test, and I also feel like they do a very good job at placement. MVLA Adult School has helped me achieve my goals by putting me in a fast-paced curriculum to graduate and be a medical assistant faster than any of the other vocational schools that I've looked into. So because they do offer the fast track, I feel like that helped me better achieve my goals, getting me graduated faster so that I can get the job faster, so that I can start providing for my son faster. Now that I have a job as a medical assistant, I am going to use that experience to eventually apply at a hospital, maybe Sutter Health or maybe even Kaiser. So I do want to work in the hospital environment for the very good health benefits that they have for my son. Eventually, I do want to go back to school so that I can be a radiology technician.
So that is just one of our students in our medical assisting program. So I would invite you to take a look at page 16 of the board report, where we have a URL that you can check out with more success stories, particularly for our ESL and GED programs. There's also a QR code there. If you want to use your phone to go ahead and scan that as well. So I'm going to go ahead and bring it back to Julia.
Okay, we are also happy to report that our school remains in good financial health, even through the peak period of the pandemic. We continue to receive the largest percentage of the overall consortium dedicated funding at 42% out of 5 schools. We had a healthy carryover of approximately $59,000 and over $485,000 in additional income from grants and fees. All adult schools are held financially accountable through the alignment of resource allocation with school and regional consortium plans that must be approved by the state and federal and certified by our consortium. Another way that the state holds us accountable is by reporting the total number of instructional hours on an annual basis. And as you can see within our regional consortium of 5 schools and 3 adult schools, MVLA Adult School generates 54% of the instructional hours at 217,000 hours per year. That's over twice as many hours as our closest in size adult school partner. This is significant because it reflects the level of engagement of our students as indicated in their persistence and education level completions. So in looking ahead, we are excited to embark on our next 6-year accreditation cycle using safety and wellness, high quality education, professional learning, community engagement, and equity as our guiding principles. We will continue to rebuild capacity and expand our course offerings and services based on our student learning needs. We will recover learning loss through increased professional learning and use data to inform instruction. We will redesign structures and processes to promote equity, safety and wellness, and community engagement. Albert Einstein once said, "Learn from yesterday, live for today, and hope for tomorrow." The important thing is to not stop questioning. As we look to the future, we will use the lessons we learned from the past year to rebuild and plan for the future. We need to continue to support our students with access to technology, as well as with digital literacy. We need to continue to support our teachers with continuing professional development and training, as well as encourage activities to support their physical, mental, and emotional well-being. If our teachers are well, our students will be as well. As we hope for tomorrow, we will continue to rebuild, recover, and reestablish ourselves, as you can see with the growth in our data trends. We have learned different ways to increase capacity and expand our offerings through distance learning and hybrid learning. And most importantly, as we engage in our initial self-study for the next 6 years, we are growing in our ability to review and analyze data. By cultivating a school-wide culture of inquiry, we hope to use data to inform how we can redesign our school structures, which we are already starting to do with our new internal staff website and e-testing placement process to promote equitable access to education. And as a school, we hope to get better at using data to redesign effective models for teaching and learning, as we can show you next year when we report on progress on our continuing improvement plan. So we would like to conclude this presentation by acknowledging some very important people. We would like to thank our superintendent, Dr. Nellie Meyer, our district leadership, and our board of trustees for making student achievement and equity the top priorities in our district. To our adult school leadership team who are with me here today, and those in spirit, and our teachers and support staff for contributing to a school culture that values academic excellence, collaboration, equity, and service. All of our staff and teachers have the heart of service at MVLA Adult School. And to our students, like Isabel and Caressa that you just saw, who are at the heart of why we do what we do. So we thank you so much for your attention. I know it's been a long night, and we look forward to answering any questions you might have.
Thank you, Julie. That was great.
Well, actually, I'd like to, I want to put you on the spot a little bit, if you don't mind. Can you tell us a little about your journey, how you got to where you are, and your background?
Sure. Thank you for asking the question. I know we had a nice conversation, and my leadership team might not know this, but I have a very personal connection to adult education. My parents were refugees that came after the Vietnam War. My father was a captain in the South Vietnamese Army. And when we first came to America, we were sponsored by a family who lived in Watsonville. The father was a carpenter. He took in our whole family of 4, provided us with shelter, clothing, and access to education. My parents were a product of adult education. They studied English as a second language and citizenship. And my father was a dreamer. Back in Vietnam, he was captain of the Army, but he also studied mechanical engineering. So he looked in the paper one day and saw an ad to lease a gas station, which he turned into an auto repair shop. And from there, my mother, using her newfound English skills, applied for a job in electronics assembly at actually the company of our Vice President Sanjay used to work at as well, Amdahl Corporation. And from there, they raised our family. I initially started in school on the ESL track. And luckily, I was fortunate to come across some very caring teachers in my life who got me out of the ESL track, and I ended up in the GATE program, which was the Gifted and Talented program. And, I went on to college, the first in my family to graduate from UC Berkeley. I graduated with high honors there and earned a scholarship to attend Stanford University. So this is a story that I shared with our Mountain View Rotary. And it's an important story because sometimes we forget that our impact goes beyond the students that we serve in that current year, all the students that graduate and get a job, but it helps to foster generational success. And we see that every day with our students, our coordinators and our teachers can tell you about all the lives that we elevate and change. So thank you for letting me share my story.
Phenomenal story. It's a story of a lot of immigrants we have here in Silicon Valley and in this country. So it's wonderful to hear it, and the fact that it's kind of turned 180, we're now giving back to where it all started. So thank you. Very nice.
So I just want to add, your story and your parents' story sound very much like Isabel Ortiz, the student of the month we heard from earlier. She too has that drive to keep going and pushing, and I think she might have found a model in you. So that's great. Thank you.
Thank you.
I just wanted to say thank you, Julie, for showing me around. I was really impressed by the attention your students were showing in the class, and also the diversity of the students. There was just just by looking, it seemed like every continent was represented, which was great. I do have a question for you, though. I don't know how this works with WASC, but what I'm hearing, just the statistic wise, right, is that obviously your parents were good financial stewards and they were able to lease a gas station, but what I'm hearing in general is that now there are predatory cash checking places, and people not understanding, credit cards, people not understanding basic financial literacy. And I do think it's different. I lived in London and it wasn't the same. I mean, there literally weren't cash checking companies. They weren't allowed to be there and to charge rates like that. And also, I think there's also this confusion about, you need a social security card maybe to open a bank account, but like, how can you do that if you don't have? So I think these basic financial literacy and how to budget it. I don't know if that's something your students have expressed to you or not. And I'm wondering if that's something that you're incorporating into your teaching of math, because you're not as bound by, you know, the A through G requirements, or, you know, because you're talking about being self-reliant. And to me, that includes understanding how our financial system works, which is not favorable to people who do not understand English, or how financial institutions work.
Thank you for raising that question. That's a really important point. Sarah would like to answer that question.
So as the ESL coordinator, I can tell you that our curriculum, particularly as beginners, it's what's your name, where are you from? But our curriculum does include a lot of life skills. So we have most of our curriculum up in the intermediate and advanced levels have a financial management unit, during which part of so we're teaching reading, writing, listening, and speaking always, but we also do a lot of work on teaching life skills and cultural understanding. So today, I don't quite know how my class made me do this, but I explained the difference between tax credits and tax deductions to the advanced class because they asked. But we do teach all of those things, lessons about banking, credit scores, lessons about housing fairness, housing equity. All of those things are part of our EL Civics curriculum as well as our core curriculum.
I am really thrilled to hear that. Thank you.
Did you have some? A couple things. One is, how long does it take to, except for super students like Julie, to get through all 6 levels of your ASL on the average?
So Julie took 6 months, but maybe 3 years. For our adults, if you're starting at level 1, which is literacy, which is ABC 1, 2, 3, red, blue, yellow, so kindergarten level English, a lot of those students also do not bring very many skills from their home language. That makes a huge difference. So if we have somebody who comes to us who's highly educated in their home language, so that they've already got literacy skills, they can move through the program extremely fast, by which I mean 2 to 3 years. However, when we're dealing with somebody who does not have those foundational skills in any language, it would be more likely to take 5 or 6 to get, but it really depends a lot on that foundational skills that they may have brought from previous education, and also on the amount of time that they are able to devote to class and to studying. A lot of our students are also like Maria, they're also parents, they're also working. So their education is only one part of the pie that is their life. And however much time they have, the faster they can progress. We work with students for as long as we can. And we are also there. They also come and go. So we try to be there when they come back, because they do that they have times they cannot attend. And then when their life changes a little bit, then they have times they can come back, and we try to be there for them when they do.
So I have another how many question, and that is, how many volunteer tutors do you have? Approximately.
Oh, that's Gina.
Yeah, we've got about 5, we're ready to review ESL, 5, 6, 7.
You could
5 ESL.
It's like for the ESL, they're pretty good to consistent, and then our GED is a little herding cap situation where you get the tutors, but then the students, aren't, they're just not, they need a little bit more. Some are like regular, but then they have to drop off for work or whatever life. There's, a health things, and so that's why the number kind of.
So Gina has the joy and the challenge of coordinating all of these volunteer tutors. And I just wanted to say, we've been able to expand the ESL writing tutoring to morning, afternoon, and night. It started with the morning group. We also found a need for additional practice in speaking for those who may read and write well. So Gina has coordinated this huge ESL conversation group that is growing in popularity, and we are recruiting another volunteer because we'd like to add another section. The other, oh, would you like to talk a little bit about Chris Key in the evening?
Oh,
Yeah, that's a really interesting story. Chris Key, the math tutor.
Oh, well, then we do have a math tutor on Thursday evening. He is a mathematician, like he's a competitive mathematician. He's at Mission Mission High School in Fremont, which is a very prestigious school. I'm so sorry, I didn't know where. It's not.
So he's able to serve a small group of GED students in
Yeah.
math in the evenings.
Yeah, that was he's a high school student who created a tutoring society when during COVID, he had his friends from around the nation and they created a tutoring service. And they chose adults because they saw that was a need that was not being met. So, but he is coming in person. We do battle in person and he makes the commitment to come every Thursday. It's really great. Yeah, thank you.
That's
So
great.
lumps count, but you know, we answered the question.
And one more count question is, do you get pretty high participation in your technology advocacy drop-ins compared to the number of hours you are open?
So that's an interesting question because technology advocate support services have evolved through the course of this pandemic. So during the pandemic, we started that program because we had open learning labs for students to come in and take part in the distance learning. So at that point, they were serving groups of students. From there, we started to have Zoom workshops for students coming in when we did that full year of distance learning. Now we've noticed that the need has tapered off, which means that we need to assess what the new needs will be. Currently, we have targeted workshops geared at teaching students because our students are at that level where they may not know how to access a web browser, to get onto the internet, to log on to email. And the reason why we hold these workshops is so that they can have the skills to log into the G Suite and then also their Google Classroom. So we're kind of there right now where we have a coordinated effort with the ESL to have these workshops scheduled at the monthly or bi-monthly ESL placement test dates. And that way we're assessing both their English proficiency level as well as tech skills. A big change from a decade ago is we now have integrated technology at every single level of ESL, from basic literacy to advanced ESL. One of the new things we haven't been able to talk about is the highest level of advanced ESL writing that we're piloting as we speak. It's an integrated education and training model comprised of 3 days of ESL with 2 staggered days of career technical education in our articulated word processing course that we have with Mission College. Those students are also obtaining training in Canvas, so that will help to bridge them into post-secondary education. And so with that, we suspect that we will need to provide additional technology support services. Jonathan is working on a school-wide survey tool. We love texting, we love QR codes, we love Google Forms and surveys, and we're going to integrate that to get more feedback from our students. So to answer your question, not enough students are accessing the services right now, and that will be part of our next 6-year cycle for WAS. Our goal is to increase their access to support services.
Then all I want to say is you do such a fabulous job and deliver so much to so many different people, and all of the services at once to a few like our student of the month. So great, thanks.
Well, thank you so much. And I wanted to thank my leadership team here, who are the instructional leaders of our school, who do the big push and are role models for our teachers, who serve as role models for our students. So thank you so much for being here and supporting our school tonight as well.
Thank you all. Great job. I want to remind our student representatives that they are free to leave. We are past the point in the meeting where we're doing reports and any action items like that. So if you have things to do, please excuse yourselves and off you go. Okay, good. Thank you. Okay, we are now up to our CSBA Delegate Assembly election. And I have consulted with a recently retired board member on recommendations. And she, of course, had extensive experience with CSBA. And so in addition to recommending our own Catherine Vonnegut and Vaishali Sirke from our partner district, Los Altos, she recommends George Sanchez from Franklin McKinley. He's been a longtime member of the Delegate Assembly and doing an excellent job. Bridget Watson from Sunnyvale, whom I know through chat. She's a very hard worker and a great asset to the board, the Delegate Assembly. Van Lee from Eastside Union and Danielle Cohen from Campbell Union. So those would be our 6 votes. If anybody has something they'd like to suggest differently, otherwise I'd like a motion.
May I say one thing about the ones that were recommended by the other board member? I know Bridget pretty well, myself, and Shally, of course, and myself, I know. And I've communicated a reasonable amount with George Sanchez at CSBA meetings over time. So I'm real happy about that one too. I don't know Van Lee and Danielle as well, so I would take the opinion of.
Fiona said they've been doing wonderful things for the county. Board. So may I have a motion to elect those 6?
So moved.
Okay, was that Catherine? Yes, okay, moved by Catherine. That's
yourself.
Why not?
That's perfectly legitimate.
It is, actually.
If you're not going to vote for yourself, who is going to vote for you?
There's that.
And do we have a second? Second, was that you, Esma?
Yeah.
Very good, thank you. Okay, board members, how would you vote? Thank you, student board members. Board, all in
Aye.
favor? Aye, motion carries 5-0. So those are our 19. And we are at the finish line. Board suggestions for future board reports. Let me remind you to keep in mind, board members, that when we ask for a report, it requires a great deal of work by staff. And they've already got some in the pipeline that we've been asking for a while. They're now mature. So please keep that in mind. If you want information about a specific topic, the best thing to do is to contact the Associate Superintendent at Nellie about that particular topic and arrange a meeting and ask all your questions there. And if it turns out that it should be something that we all have to share in, then you can ask to have it further to a board report. So with that in mind, I think we've already suggested many things, but is there anything else?
I did discuss something with Nellie, but given how long this meeting has been, I think it would be better served for me to talk about it at a future meeting.
Yeah. And that maybe whatever it was, you could just talk to the people who are involved and then bring it back to all of us.
No, I do think we need board input, but I just think right now it's like where it's very late. So, yeah.
Thank you, Theda. Okay. Do we have any communication besides the ones we've already talked about?
We do. We actually have a letter that what I'm handing out is a letter that is regarding our staff housing. And so last week well, for the last few years, we have been engaged in conversation around staff housing. And we wrote a letter in our response. And with your permission, I would like to read it into the record. And this will also be part of our minutes. So this was a letter to the developers, the coordinators, and County Supervisor Simidian's office. And the letter is as follows. Dear Supervisor Simidian, Ms. Pearson, and Ms. Hollywood, after much discussion and close analysis of the detailed conditions for participation in Supervisor Simidian's creative solution to providing affordable housing to teachers in the area, including MVLA HSD, we have determined a course of action that we strongly believe best serves the goal of it, bless you, of attracting excellent teachers to the area and retaining them. Putting to good use the flexibility Supervisor Simidian built into his concept, MVLA HSD would like the occupancy rights to the 12 units now designated for MVLA to be purchased instead by districts that have a far greater need. Of course, our hope is that our partner districts, Mountain View Wissman School District and Los Altos School District, from which our students come, will be the ones entering into the contract to purchase those additional rights to occupancy at the affordable rents the contract prescribes. The realization of this hope will increase the likelihood that MVLA will continue to welcome well-prepared ninth graders to our high schools, for which our relatively stronger tax base enables us to attract and retain staff with wages and benefits that are the envy of other districts across the state. Our labor partners concur that purchasing the occupancy rights is not the highest and best use of the money for MVLA, and that having our partner districts buy them is the best outcome. We understand that Mountain View Wissman School District is likely to be ready to acquire the additional occupancy rights that our non-participation would make available, and that LASD is seriously interested in discussing the possibility of purchasing some of those rights. We have also received inquiries from other nearby North County districts about the possibility of their purchasing the rights currently designated for MVLA. We all agree that enabling North County districts to hire and keep well-qualified teachers is of great benefit to the entire county. We applaud Supervisor Simidian for his ongoing foresight and problem-solving skills and admire the efforts that all the parties have put forward to date to address the lack of affordable housing that is exacerbated in this region. We thank all of you for the time you have invested in this worthwhile project and the efforts to be creative and proactive for our future generations. Sincerely, Superintendent and Board of Trustees. And with that, I will note that we did receive a response to this email stating that they appreciated the time that they had working with us, and they also appreciated the communication.
Great. Okay, thank you, Nellie. Also, I want to add that I received a few emails during the course of the meeting from people who wanted to speak at the public at the opportunity for the public to do so on items not on the agenda. So I will pass them on to Debbie to incorporate them in the minutes.
Okay.
Good, thank you. Okay, any other communications we need to discuss? In that case, our next meeting is Monday, March 13th. And you can see all the future board meeting dates there, all the way through December 18th, 2023. Okay. We're not going to resume closed session, so there's nothing left to do but adjourn. I have a motion to adjourn.
I second.
Okay, who did the movie? Sanjay, seconded by Catherine. Thank you, Sadie. Thank you, Ava. Board members, please raise your hand to indicate. Motion carries 5-0. We are adjourned.